This episode of Real Garbage is brought to you by those songs that just put you in a good mood.
I'm all right. Don't gotta worry about me. This episode of Real Garbage is also brought to you by gum. Spit it out.
This is Real Garbage.
Hello!
I thought you were just going to go.
Oh, I swallowed it
Oh, okay, cool.
immediately.
Come on.
I was like,
We've been over this.
yeah,
What's happening?
not a whole lot. Just cruised over here listening to my disco best of CD. Oh, that's what gets me in a good mood.
Which song was it? Do you remember?
It was Funky Town.
That's not disco. That's.
It's on my disco CD.
Is this like one of those late night infomercial collaborations?
No, like, gotta make a move to a town that's right for me.
Oh yeah, I know the song. I mean, like, where did you get a CD? First of all, where did you buy a CD?
Sunrise Records in Mayfair.
Weird.
Because my car doesn't have the ability to have an aux cord and it doesn't have Bluetooth, so it's the radio or CDs.
Does it have a tape deck? What?
It just has a CD opening.
Weird, because at least if it had a tape deck, you could do a tape deck adapter.
Yeah, that has the aux cord.
Which work. Yeah.
Kinda?
I had one in my old LeBaron convertible. Sweet car. And it was like, if you put that in there, it was like, you had to crank it right up. I'm like, okay, it sounds all right. But you
Yeah.
put it like a really good
Ooh.
mastered cassette. Like I
Cassette.
found Journey's, I don't know, was it Journey's? Whatever, but Europe.
Oh!
Who does like primarily the whole soundtrack for Hot Rod. And yeah, the final countdown. And it was just pumping that old stereo.
Oh, yeah.
I just played have you ever played card games? Have you ever played a game? It was I just played it like before I came back down here. I was up at Blake's place. And Nuve? I'm probably saying it wrong. Uno? It's not Uno. It's not Uno. Not Uno. Everybody knows Uno.
Have you ever played the little game? You might not know it. You know?
I played this really cool card game. No, it was
God.
it was like an Israeli card game. You play with a deck of cards. You start with 5 cards, and the objective is to get the lowest score possible. So like 0.
Like golf.
Yes, but like in one hand. So let's say I start. I discard, so I can discard pairs, 3 of a kinds, 4 of a kinds, or runs of 3 or more if they're all the same suit.
Okay, so run, like same suit run would be 2 of clubs, 3 of clubs, 4 of clubs.
Yes. And you could do
Okay.
up to 5 if you wanted to. So on your turn, you discard. So you want to just discard a pair at a time, 3 of a kind at a time, a run at a time, and you pick up 1. And you can either pick up off the discard pile or pick up off the other pile. It's cool, but I didn't get it for the first 2 rounds because, like, I'm asking, like, so they say because when you have a score of 5 in your hand or less, 5 or less, you say the word whatever it is.
Uno.
You know, yeah. You say it, and then for the first round, I'm like, we get like 6 or 7 rounds, and I'm going, how do you have 5 in? I don't get it. How do you? Because
Yeah.
like I thought you had to have 5 cards in your hand as well.
That's what
He's
it
like,
sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me as well. So we get to the end of the first round. I'm like, somebody's like, I got 1. I'm like, okay, so he has like a 1 and 2 jokers in his hand because the jokers I found out in round 2 are wild. I'm like, awesome, thanks guys. So I'm like, so I'm trying to get. So I'm thinking like I have to have a 3 of a kind and then throw the 3 of a kind down, or have a pair and I'm like, I throw the pair, but I always have to have 5 cards in my hand. So I need to have a pair and 3 of a kind at the same time. Then I can throw all 5 cards down and be like, Ueve, or whatever it is. You know.
Yeah.
So by the second round, I was like, wait. So I'm holding like 2 jacks, 2 kings, and an ace. I'm like, yeah, I got 1 in my hand. And I was like, oh, whatever the word is. And they're like, no, you need what? You still have 5 cards in your hands. I'm like, yeah, what? Isn't that what I thought you're supposed to have cards to discard plus whatever your other one, like a joker or an ace. And Blake's like, show me your cards. He's like, no, you got like 41 points there. I'm like, what? The fuck? Like, I don't get it.
That sounds like
And then
cheating.
I finally realized, like, by round 3, I'm like, all right, I get it now.
Oh my God.
So I only had, whenever someone says whatever the word is, they put their cards down. Everyone else has to as well. So you count all the points you have in your hand. So my last hand, I only had like 12 points in my hand. So I was like, yeah, fuck you guys. Fuck you, 27.
Yeah.
Fuck yours, 32. It's a neat game, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in learning how to play that. The last card game I played was Fuck the Dealer, is a drinking game.
Oh yeah. How does that
And
one go again?
You set cards up in a line and then you flip it and you like guess if the next card is going to be higher or lower, and then you flip it, and then based on that you guess what card it's going to be next, and then let's say you guess it's going to be a jack and it's a 9, you have to take 2 drinks, so you have to drink the
The difference of the
Yeah.
card. Oh, that's right. I remember that.
get you fucked.
Then everyone gang bangs the dealer.
Yeah, everyone fucks the dealer.
So when you came here, I was watching. I didn't realize how much disarray Britney Spears' life was in right now. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
I know.
It's like free Tibet, but free Britney instead.
Yeah, she's like what, 40?
She's a year older than me.
Okay, so she's
30.
39.
She's 38 right now. Yeah, or unless she turned 39.
Or
before me.
yeah, or I don't know.
Turning 38 next
30,
month.
38, 39, and she like doesn't have any control of her finances. She doesn't have any control of like her life, basically. It's her dad calling all the shots, because when she was going through her like mental breakdown in 2007 and like everything was signed over to him. That was math 13 years ago. You know, like 13 years, and she's like she's doing well, she's like, just give her fucking stuff back.
I guess she's worth a lot. How much do you think she's worth? I didn't Google it, but she's got to be worth. I
Like,
don't know. She's still making music,
yeah,
so she's got to be worth $100 million.
yeah,
$100 million.
probably,
Her dad is a piece of shit.
yeah,
Like, it's because it's him pulling all the strings, right?
yeah,
I have a hard enough time even arguing with my parents on the phone or texting and shit. I'm just like, you know what? I couldn't imagine them like, all right, Jeff, now you're going to do this. Then you only get $10 for your allowance. And you
Yeah.
can maybe go out on the weekend. Fuck that.
yeah,
Oh, man, I'd lose it.
right? Like,
I'm amazed she hasn't murdered anybody yet.
I know.
Maybe she will. 2020 is not over yet.
That's true. 2020 has been buck wild. Although some good news came to me
Oh.
the other day. Maybe that's why I'm in a good mood until I found out it's a scam, and then I'll cry.
Oh, no.
So I was getting calls from Service Canada like early morning on Monday and Tuesday, but I was sleeping, and then I would wake up, check my voicemail. The guy left me a callback number with his extension. I called him back. We played telephone tag, and then finally got in contact with him yesterday. Yeah, yesterday afternoon. And
Is this so what? Sorry. No, never mind.
I was worried that Service Canada was calling me to tell me my information was compromised because the CRA's website got hacked 3 separate times. So I was going into it fully prepared for them to be like, yep, your information was compromised. We're really sorry. This is what we're going to do, or something like that. But the guy on the phone was like, hey, my name is so-and-so with Service Canada in employment insurance. I was just like calling to follow up as to why you didn't make any reports, because I applied for CERB when we first all lost jobs. And I only got 1 CERB payment, and then I stopped getting them. Like, I didn't put forth reports to continue getting payments because I wasn't sure if I like qualified, so I decided just to err on the side of caution and not owe the government thousands of dollars in 2021 to just make do. So he was calling probably because it looked sus that I only claimed it once. So he was probably calling to figure out, did I really need the $2,000, or was I scamming the government, or
Is that
why?
what the first one-time payment? What first time payment was $2,000?
It's $2,000 it's $500 every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So like on the government's end, it probably looked really suspect that I only got 1 payment. Like, did I go back to, like, he was asking, did I go back to work right after that? Did I stop working at all? Basically, he wanted to know, like, why did we give you this money? And why didn't you continue getting it if you needed it? And I was like, no, I didn't go back to work until like June. And he was like, why didn't you make reports? And I was like, to be honest, I'm kind of dumb. And I was afraid I'd mess it up and then owe you thousands of dollars next year. And he kind of laughed and he was like, well, you can do reporting over the phone. Like, did you want to do that now? So we went through it and he basically was like, you qualify for like a certain, I can't remember, but a certain amount of weeks of back pay for CERB. And I was like, what?
And then all you have to do is just keep the tax on
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So this was a legit call?
Okay, so here's like it seemed legit. The number, I Googled the number, it came back as a Service Canada number. I like call the number and it's answered by an automated message and it's like, you've reached Service Canada. For English, press 1, for French, press 2, you know, the normal thing.
Yeah.
And then when I was calling this guy back and we were playing telephone tag and I left him voicemails, he was like, hello, you have reached so-and-so with Service Canada and employment insurance. I'm currently like working away from home, or I'm working out of office. I check my messages daily. Like, please provide a, date and time for me to call you back. So I was like, yeah, this is legit. And when we were on the phone, like they didn't ask me for my social insurance number. He asked for the last 3 digits because I Googled it and that's the
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like to verify my identity. And that's the only information they have access to is the last 3 digits. Like they asked me last 3 digits, name, birthday, basic stuff. They didn't ask me to pay them money. They didn't ask me what my entire SIN number was. Nothing, like no bells or red flags were going off. But the thing is, I like Google this number and the first thing that comes up is the Service Canada website saying EI, blah, blah, blah. You click on it, you scroll down and the number is right there. So I'm like, okay, it's on Service Canada's legit government website. But then a couple links lower, it's a forum, and I clicked on the forum, and the people are like, this is a scam. They're using Service Canada's number, and then the 10-digit extension is like the WhatsApp phone number of the scammer, blah, blah, blah. But then the whole forum is people arguing like, no, this is a legitimate number. The service workers and employees have 10-digit extension numbers. Every single one of them do. If you have to call them or give them a call back, they all have 10-digit extensions. So, like, best case scenario, I'm getting back pay for CERB. Worst case scenario,
Somebody stole your identity.
well, not really, because they only have the last 3 digits of my SIN.
Maybe that's all they needed. They had the other 6. They're like, oh, we're going to get these last
Yeah, they need 3. Good luck with my identity, boys. If fucking take it.
Coming
It's
up
not
next
good.
week, Katie gets her identity stolen.
Yeah, but yeah, so
I'm sure they could get it no matter what.
That's-
all,
yeah.
all their information's out in the ether.
yeah, exactly.
It's silly.
But yeah, I think it was legit because if they were trying to scam me, they wouldn't be on the phone with me for like half an hour, 45 minutes
Well-
doing a report week to week to week.
Log into your my account.
Oh yeah,
through
my CRA.
Yeah, go through electronically and it'll show a record of what they've done for you.
That's
So
true.
there will be like an EI benefit statement
Yeah.
somewhere for CERB. And if not, contact them through there.
Yeah.
Like look at whatever number's there and be like, hey, I got a call from some people the other day. This is
Yeah.
what's going on. Then they'll tell you right away, like, sure, yeah, you got money. That'd be awesome.
Right?
They're like, here's like $8,000.
Well, it's so funny because I owe the government like money on my taxes.
You can set up
For
payment
last
plans,
year?
eh?
Yeah,
It's really easy.
that's what I'm doing right now. But if this is legit, I'm literally going to be taking the money the government gave me and giving it back to the government.
It's kind of silly.
Like-
but it's really like if I've learned about this because I fucking owed money before and I hate owing money and I realize it's like, well, yeah, if you make above and beyond what you claim you're making and you don't pay tax on that, you're going to owe them later. Then people
Yeah.
are like, I get a tax refund. It's like, because you overpaid.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gave them more than you
They're
needed
giving
to.
you your money back.
It is still such a rewarding feeling when you're like, I'm getting money back.
I know.
Yeah.
You're like, the government's
like,
paying me.
The government's paying me the money that I made already and
Yeah.
gave to them. Awesome. Because there's like a nice, it's usually a bonus, right?
Yeah.
Like in a point where you're like, God, I could use a couple $1,000s right now.
And then they're like, refunds.
Well,
And you're like, woo.
They've been doing quarterly GST checks. Like I never used to get GST checks and I make a decent living, but they're like, here, have some more money. I'm like,
I'm like, fucking
right.
okay, bro. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
thanks, guys.
Take it. I'll take what I can get from the government.
Do you want to talk about this movie?
Yeah. Perfect for in the summertime when the weather is hot. You can jump right in the lake and have your skin raw off. In the summertime when the weather.
Like, and the whole episode's just beatboxing. And
Yeah.
singing. No, this one, man. Like, were we supposed to know exactly what it was in the first 20 minutes?
Apparently that's what the writer or director
Well-
want. Like,
Screenplay written by Eli Roth.
yeah. See,
Didn't
okay.
direct it, but he wrote the screenplay.
No, and the reason I chose this is because I saw. Okay, so this is the Cabin Fever, and yeah, and I chose this one because I remember watching it years ago, and I remember being like, "Oh my god, this is not like the original Eli Roth one from 2002, I think." Because that one was scary, and this one was just so heavily focused on like the gore factor and the oh my god.
Audio jump scares. Audio
Yep.
cut jump scares is what I caught like 8 or 9,
Yep.
maybe 10 times. I'm like, come on.
Like 3 or 4 within the first 10 or 15 minutes.
And like simple shit, like a truck driving down the road.
Yeah.
Like, you're always gonna get hit. Oh, just a
Oh.
loud horn on a truck.
Yeah. Do better. Do better.
Do you want to explain to people what this
Yeah.
is about?
So, Cabin Fever 2016 edition. 5 friends go on a vacation to this. We don't really know. Is it a retreat? Is it a cabin that one of their parents owns? Is it a hostel? We don't know. They don't say. But they go. They're going to have a good time and party and bang endlessly, as we learn.
2 of them are.
Yeah. And something's in the water. And they get some. Something's in the water.
Oh, wait, before we start, I have 2 corrections from last week. We were talking
Ooh.
about, because we were talking about
Bernie's.
the study of
Oh,
handwriting
yeah.
as a graphologist. It's graphology.
Knew it. Okay.
Handwriting studier is what I wrote. And I also
Graphologist.
explained to you that a hoagie was a sandwich, a submarine sandwich.
Fuck. My life
Like-
has been a lie.
What are you talking about? Hoagie.
Growing up, a hoagie was a hot dog covered in like
dog.
sauerkraut and onions and all that stuff. That was a hoagie when I was growing up in Berta.
You need to go have a hoagie.
I need
You
to
need
have a real
A
hoagie.
submarine sandwich. Like, if you've eaten Subway, you've had lots of hoagies.
Yeah.
I said it's really just deli meat and
Actually,
toppings.
I haven't had a hoagie. I haven't had like a deli meat sub before or a meatball sub before. It's
huh?
no, it's
How?
I don't know. I've literally just had. Okay, so when I was a kid, I used to have a BLT sub without the tomato, and then
Okay. You go ahead.
yeah, and then I graduated to just veggie subs because I was like, ugh, about bacon. Just because, no, not like real bacon. You know the bacon you get from like on burgers at McDonald's or Subway, the really thin,
that's not
gross
bacon.
shit.
That's
yeah.
not bacon.
So I would always just not do bacon in those stances and just have a veggie sub.
I should send you home with a couple pieces of carnivore bacon. I will, actually.
Oh my God.
Remind me after this.
Okay,
and
thank
then
you.
you bake it in the oven.
Oh yeah,
the way to do
my
it.
grandpa used to do that.
That's the way to make your bacon.
And then I graduated to Subway had this sandwich called the sweet and smoky chicken, and it was like pulled chicken. It wasn't that rubbery fucking breast
Like the
stuff.
sweet chicken
Yeah.
teriyaki
Ugh.
chicken.
No, this chicken was like pulled or shredded. It was so fucking good.
Hmm.
So that's what I get all the time if I go to Subway. Or I've graduated to steak and cheese because I'm maturing.
Maturing.
Steak and cheese, please.
Well,
But, I haven't had a meatball sub or
Well,
cold cut
meatball,
sub.
obviously, because I've realized that halfway through it, I'm like, oh yeah, the tomato sauce would kill you. Yeah. This meatball sauce is delicious. It was worth it.
Yeah.
No, you
Was
would,
it?
you don't want to die for a Subway.
Yeah, not for a
meatball sub.
Subway sandwich.
No. Because, but I will say though, God, I wish you could eat tomatoes because a meatball sub just smothered in cheese.
Maybe I'll have one on my deathbed.
You should. If you already know you're gonna die, you're just like,
Yeah,
fuck
if
it.
I know, okay,
me a
mark
meatball
my
sub.
words. If it comes to it whenever it's my time and I know I'm gonna go, I will eat a meatball sub. I will eat salsa. I will eat like bolognese and spaghetti
What will it do to you if you eat? Say you took a big bite out of a tomato.
out of a
right
raw
now.
tomato.
Yeah.
My throat would swell up and I'd start uncontrollably vomiting.
Jesus, would it be super fast? Like super quick?
No,
Has
because
it ever happened before?
yeah,
Oh.
I
Do
that's how I
you have
found
an
out.
EpiPen?
No,
Why not?
because it's not like.
Should you have one?
I mean, I talked about it with a doctor, and they said that because it's not like peanuts or an allergy where if I'm around them, I go into anaphylaxis. It's if I
You have to.
ingest them.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, like when I first found out, I was, I think, I don't know, like 8 or 9. And I had this piece of like veggie pizza from a carnival and I ate it on my way home. And then I woke up and I couldn't breathe and I was vomiting everywhere. And my grandpa was like, what the damn hell? Like, I can't take
What
you
the
home like this.
damn hell?
What the damn hell is going on?
Well, this was in the car?
No, this was I was sleeping over at my grandparents.
Oh.
And then they were like, we can't take you home tomorrow like this.
Vomiting and not breathing.
Yeah, and then it happened. It happened again. I do this thing every once in a while, with years apart, where I test my allergy because some people say your allergy could get better. The
That's
older
kind
you
of what I
get,
was thinking while we were talking about this.
or it can get worse. And mine has gotten worse.
Oh, that's no good.
I took a couple sips of a Caesar, like a drink, to try it a few years ago, and at first I was just itchy, and I was like, okay, this is fine. This is fine. I'm just itchy. And then I like started feeling my throat get very like hot and like start constricting. And then I started, and Brandon was witness to this, and he was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I was like, just make sure I don't die, bro. Like,
That's why I asked if you have an EpiPen. I'm like, well, I need to know to stab you if I have to. Like, oh shit, there was tomato in that.
but yeah, and then I was like gasping for breath while I was throwing up, and he's just like, what do I do? And I'm like, just keep me in the shower.
That just sounds horrible. Like that's when you're throwing up. Like the best thing is when you finally finish.
And you're like, yeah. Except I was like,
oh, that's like my worst fear is like suffocating.
it sucks.
Suffocating and like being underwater.
Yeah.
Don't like those two
Drowning
things.
and stuff. Those are like within the same thing.
And I've heard if you just like, I was listening to David Blaine the other day. He's like, just learn to be calm under there. Like, there's actually, it's cool because if
Just
you
learn to be calm.
if you do like crazy deep breathing before you go underwater, you can actually
yeah.
stay underwater for way longer than most
that's
people.
why divers are like,
Well, the neat thing too is that if you pass out underwater, if you just pass out underwater, you don't die. You won't die. So like Marines will actually do this. They'll tap them out underwater basically, and then the team will drag them up and then wake them up. And as long as you don't breathe in the water,
Oh, yeah.
your body goes into like survival mode. You
Yeah.
float underwater. You don't float. You kind of sit underwater.
Yeah.
And the oxygen stays in your cells for like a certain amount of time. As long as you're not breathing in the water. If you breathe
Yeah.
in the water, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
So if you go underwater and you don't panic, I guess, you can pass out underwater. It's crazy. It's fucking wild what the human body can do. That's how like David Blaine can, not breathe
yeah.
underwater, but like stay in a block of
Yeah.
ice for 55 hours.
see,
Crazy.
I sometimes when I'm just in my thoughts, I think about like the wild shit that like human bodies can do. And just the act of like you get a cut and you heal yourself, like that's fucking wild.
Little white blood cells.
Yeah, they're just like working hard. They're like sewing you up. And then hearing about like you can pass out underwater and like you'll be alive as long as you don't breathe it in. Like fuck, that's so cool.
Or like the fact that you can fast for weeks on end.
Yeah.
With just water.
Yeah.
There's the guy that did water and vitamins and dropped 200 pounds in a year. Fasted for a year under like
shit.
scientist observation.
Yeah.
But even David Blaine was talking about he fasts for like he'll do 36 hours before he goes and do any tricks and shit, not tricks. Anyway,
Tricks and shit.
cabin fever.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie starts off weird scene, dude. Some redneck outback freak is like not freak. Some redneck is just running
Some
through the woods with like
backwater.
a rabbit, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, dog, I got us dinner."
Side note, Who the hell names their dog Pancakes?
Pancakes!
Who? Like who? I can understand
This guy.
pancake, but a plural name for a dog. Like that's like me being like, yo, Phils! Like
Or Peaches.
okay, that peaches makes
pancakes.
sense.
Sparkle. I'm trying to think of like other dog
Sprinkles.
names that I know. I knew somebody that named their dog Dog.
What?
Dog.
Dio.
Yeah. Right? They're like, Diogi.
No!
Diogi. And for a while, I'm like, what is your dog's name? Like Diogi. I'm like,
D-O-G?
yeah. And then I sounded it out. I was like, D-O-G. They're like, yeah, we call the dog. I'm like,
Oh my god. You're like, that's meta as fuck.
is that the dumbest thing or the most clever dog name ever?
I feel like it's the
D.O.G..
most it's the most clever thing ever.
thought so.
D-O-G. That's
Shout out
so
to Abby Mazer. You'll probably never hear this.
yeah, but that's so D-O-G. That's
Yeah.
keeper.
Diogi.
Oh my god.
So yeah, we open up on this, and it's just okay. The music in this movie.
Yeah. Right off the bat, it was giving me like wannabe a cross between wannabe Terminator and wannabe Blade Runner with the synth
Well,
and the
that opening scene, like I'm talking like he yells the case. So this guy walks up, his dog just falls apart in front of him.
yeah.
Now, was this further down the road or before? Like, was this?
This was before because that guy was the mangled guy later on.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, he's the guy that lives out there. That's cousin Harry or whatever.
Yeah.
So his dog just disintegrates in front of him. He like touches it and I'm like, okay, wow, the dog must have drank the water, I guess.
Yeah.
And-
Because his water bowl's right there.
I didn't catch the water bowl. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Brrrt, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 brrrt, brum, bum, 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 cabin fever, brrrt, bum, bum." Like, what the? I had to turn it down. It was
Yeah.
playing on my laptop, and I was like, fucking
You're like,
quiet.
what the hell is happening?
Why is it so loud?
I know. This was one of those movies where you would constantly have to be adjusting your volume
Mm-hmm.
because the actual dialogue and stuff is quiet, but then it's like, mu-
It was overkill. It was really poorly mastered. But yes, the next scene, like you're saying Terminator and what else?
Blade Runner.
Because I was thinking The Shining.
Oh,
Bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum, bum, bum.
didn't
It was
even
like
think
an
about that.
exact copy of The Shining music and the above the car shots. And so
Yeah.
that's why I didn't look into what this movie was at all. I pulled it out of your cup and I was
My
like,
cup?
I didn't want to Google what it is. I just Googled the rating and saw it was a 0. I was like, okay. But I started thinking, is this like a horror movie spoof? Because
Right,
like that,
you would
even that
think.
Shining-esque thing, I was like, okay, what's this going to turn into? Like a comedy maybe? Maybe
yeah,
something
like
funny? I'm
scary
like,
movie type of shit.
No.
No.
Not even close.
It's taking itself way too seriously.
It was bad. Who the hell is screaming out there?
I think there's a game. Oh yeah, there's a soccer game or some shit over there.
A soccer match.
A football match.
A football match. Yeah, so I hated these characters right off the bat.
I know. Like the first bit of dialogue we get, all 5 of them are driving in a
Jeep Grand Cherokee.
yes. And then the first thing is, yeah, we're gonna have a week of relaxation and relentless pounding. And if there's one thing that gets my blood boiling about movies like this or movies that focus around like college age people is I have never been in my group of friends and none of them have spoken like that. We've made comments about like constant fucking and like endless boning, but like relentless pounding is just too
I imagine the writers sitting there like, what's another term for
we need synonym or not synonyms.
endless fucking? Oh, dude, I got one for you.
Relentless pounding. Genius!
Fucking gold. Gold. You gotta stick around.
Yeah. Oh, a thesaurus.
A thesaurus?
Yeah. We need a thesaurus.
Relentless pounding.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Bert's like, a beer. Don't forget
Yeah,
the beer.
like, okay, Bert.
Who? All right, have we've all camped before.
Yep.
We're Canadian.
Yeah.
You prepare.
Yeah, you bring all the shit with
Yeah.
you.
You prepare before you get in the car.
Yeah.
Like everything in the house is packed the night before.
Yep.
You put it in the car, then you go, and I got to stop at the beer store. I already have ice. And the beer store is like your last stop before
Yep.
you go,
and then
you
you
make
put
sure
it in the cooler.
Yeah.
And it's chilling when you're driving there. Yeah.
you make sure you got weed This idiot's like, we need to go beer. Like, why would you?
Why would you wait?
Where is this cabin supposed to be? Because
I know. That's what I said.
Yeah.
My assumption based on the license plate is I think it's Oregon because the license plate has that tree on it. And I'm pretty sure that's an Oregon plate. But again, another movie that I'm not surprised is poorly rated, and it has the same trope of not telling the audience when or where it is. How am I supposed to like feel something or give a shit or like care if this is just in a fantasy world to me? You know, like the best movies that evokes some emotion from you is when you know where they are and you like can your imagination, like you can picture where it's happening. And that's why, you know, every time someone thinks of New York, they're like, oh, that place gets obliterated in every fucking movie ever. Like the Avengers, or a New York lookalike, you know.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
No, that was LA.
King Kong.
No, that was the White House. Right?
Yeah, Independence Day is the White. Day After Tomorrow. That's New York.
I think of New York and I just think of Times Square.
Yeah,
Every
that
time.
too.
And Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how I don't give a shit where this is because guess what? I don't know where this is, therefore I don't care what's happening because I'm not thinking, hoo, I've been there or ho. That Lake Erie, whoa.
Well, I'm just because like by the sounds of it, one of their parents, maybe Jeff's parents, got this cabin for them for the weekend.
Yeah, like Bert made a comment like, "Oh wow, Jeff, your mom really hooked us up."
Yeah.
But how? Like with a Groupon?
Well, yeah.
Like, is this a B&B?
Has the mom been there before? Has she had any of the lake water? Because I figure like if she would have had to have been there before.
Yeah.
Why would you want to send your kids and their friends to a place where there's like creepy outback folk?
And here's the thing about the creepy outback folk. So they go get gas and beer, and then this random ass kid who is
With the creepy bunny mask.
just full on bites one of the guys, Paul. And then his dad is like,
Oh no.
oh,
Jethro.
like city folk, like nothing good comes from when city folk are here. And then in the same sentence says, everyone knows you don't talk to this kid. What's wrong with you? It's like you just acknowledged that they're city folk and they're not fucking from here. And now you're like, everyone knows you don't talk to my fucking freak son.
How do you not know that, outsider?
Yeah, like it was so, the writing was just so messy.
This was probably one of those projects too where the writer was like, no, those lines have to stay like that.
Yeah,
Where the guy,
this is my vision.
the guy delivering the lines like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
It's like, listen, just read the lines. Buddy.
just read the fucking lines.
This kid, like, put a muzzle on him.
I know.
Don't leave him outside. Why is the
Yeah.
kid just sitting in front of the store? Like, is that this guy's like parenting tactic? He's like, I'm gonna take him to work, put him outside for 8 hours. He'll be fine,
Yeah,
Janice.
he has his
Don't
mask.
worry about him.
He's fine.
He's got his creepy bunny mask.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not the first time he's bitten someone, obviously.
No.
Because he's like, oh man, did he bite you?
Yeah,
Or he-
everyone knows.
Everyone knows you don't talk to him. Well, later on, they come back to him and doesn't say a word to him. The kid's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he says, but
He was like,
mutters something
"Oh,
like
hey."
Gollum-esque.
Yeah.
Creepy little fuck.
Or no, he says pancakes. Like the
Oh yeah,
dog.
he does.
Yeah. So
There's so much
I
in this
know.
movie that doesn't make sense.
and then after this guy gets bit, he's like, yeah, I need a fucking doctor. And he's like, I got a hose out back. That's the best I can do. When you're bitten by a human being, you don't just go rinse it off and continue on your day. You have to go to the hospital and get shots and get blood work taken to make sure you don't get rabies or HIV or
Oh, squeaky fucking belt on that car.
or what are other
Yeah.
other disease, you know.
Other things that an
Heck.
8-year-old child might have.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Diseases don't
This
discriminate.
is what I was thinking. So he gets bit, and I'm like, okay, so this is gonna be some movie about there's maybe
zombie.
the kid's infected with something, but he's like asymptomatic, so he's gonna bite Paul, and Paul's gonna get sick and murder the whole group.
Yeah.
No, it's not the case at all.
Paul's just fine.
Bert tries to steal from, they
Yeah.
they call him like, hey, Deliverance.
Yeah.
Your kid just bit my friend. And he's like, fuck you, buddy. Go wash out back. And then the other guy's like, listen, Deliverance, it's not worth it. And like takes him back inside. I'm like, okay, so I thought it was also going to be these rednecks.
Are gonna go after them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
Nope.
what they were alluding to.
Yep. Nope.
Nope, not the story either.
Nope. And then this guy Bert buys a bunch of beer, but then steals a Snickers bar. What the hell?
And Buddy watched him, so like he saw him steal it.
And then chased him out?
Yeah, so obviously he's not working the till. Must be Outback Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
That we see later with the overalls. Because he waits and then he's like 20 feet behind him. Like, hey, buddy, you think I didn't see that? It's like, well, why didn't you stop in the store? Like, put it back.
Right? Like
It's over dramatic.
Yeah. Hey.
And then they basically go, get the fuck away from here if you know what's good for you. Like, get in your car and leave. So they're like, fine, we're leaving. And then they leave. Like, okay, you've put the fear of God into these kids. But this goes back to like, what kind of parent? First of all, if they own this cabin, who the hell would buy a cabin like a cool cabin? Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
On a cool little lake
But-
or river because it was flowing.
Yeah. But
It was flowing.
Where would if you own this, wouldn't you scope out the town, the regulars, be like, we don't jive with this.
Make sure you don't live next to a murderous bunch of Outback rednecks.
And also, if you don't own this and you booked it on like an Airbnb or something, wouldn't you check it out? Wouldn't you call for references or like
read the reviews?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This cabin doesn't have Wi-Fi. It doesn't have a landline, apparently. No service. So how did you find out about it? B, what modern person, like Jeff's parents, would not have a cabin and that has no landline, no cell service, no internet?
Mine would. They would.
True, but like Jeff's parents seemed like
Oh, I thought you meant me, my parents. I'm like, no, mine totally would.
No,
oh, yeah,
no,
the Jeff in the movie.
Character
That's right.
Jeff.
There's a guy named Jeff.
Yeah. The character's parents didn't seem like they would own a rustic cabin, especially when Jeff immediately after Paul was bitten was like, that's a lawsuit. Like,
Yeah. These are like pussy ass, like Harvard University, Cambridge children.
Well, later on, at some point, Jeff makes a remark that his mom will just buy him a new car. So if she's owning this cabin, it doesn't seem like she would own something with no service, no internet, no landline.
So maybe Jeff's mom wanted to murder him and his friends and make it look like an accident.
Maybe.
Because you're making really good points. Like, yeah, they're very affluent. They have a lot of money. They would not have a shitty cabin in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of Hickville. They would have like a swanky ass cabin on a mountaintop somewhere.
And they also wouldn't like rent or Airbnb a place in the middle of Hicktown. They'd be like, we can afford something much more better.
It just seemed like, why would anybody like that's like you leave people like that alone?
Yeah.
They're out there. They're happy.
They're in the boonies. You leave them.
We don't need to venture out there.
Yeah.
But because they had like jars of piss. I wrote down jars of piss. That's what I thought it was. And he's like,
and then
wait.
he was like, it's fox piss.
It's fox piss.
Everything, you get a drop of that on you, everything in the 50-mile radius is going to want to hump your leg. She's like, okay.
All right, you can have your piss back.
Yeah, goodbye.
Then they get to the cabin. I saw it was a sweet spot for a cabin.
Yeah.
But
lots of land.
Again, like I wrote down no TV, no internet. I'm like, like this is info that should have been relayed from the source to them. So they could have been like, you know what? Nah, we're not really no TV, no internet kind of people. And he goes, no weed? I'm like, again.
You should have brought it.
I don't go camping without weed.
Yeah, or you don't go camping and you're like, oh, so where's the weed? Who brought it?
Yeah.
Where is it? Is it here on a tree? You
got plants in the back. Like
if you want it, you bring it.
No. So that was like, I'm just, come on, buddy. Prepare.
Yeah, this is something that should have been relayed to them. But also there's a point where they get to the cabin or something and Jeff like shuts his door and wakes everyone up in the car and his girlfriend's like, you're such an asshole.
Oh, that's when they got to that gas station.
Oh yeah.
Over dramatic.
Yeah, why? How is he an asshole for waking you up? You're being an asshole right now.
He should have been like, cunt.
He should have been like,
I just closed the door. Fuck you.
Yeah.
He closed it a little hard.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, that's how we're starting this trip. Calling me an asshole.
These characters, the acting was weak.
Yeah.
Like there was no stakes in this movie at all.
No, and they weren't believable as friends.
No, not at all.
Like the couple, like Marcy and Jeff. And that's another thing. You don't learn these characters' names officially. It's just in passing. Like we didn't hear Bert's name until they're at the cabin and he has that gun.
He has a full-on, fully automatic assault rifle
Yeah. And he,
with an endless clip, an endless magazine.
and then he accidentally like shoots in the direction of Paul, which he should have shot Paul like that. There's no way he missed that. It took down the tree directly behind Paul. But anyway.
And Paul was kind of like, oh, don't do that, idiot. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
dude,
would've-
you'd be shitting yourself.
Yep, I'd be like, absolutely the fuck not. That gun is going away. You're not touching it ever
Yeah.
again.
I would tackle that motherfucker
Yeah.
and wrestle it away from him, point it in his face and say, fuck you. Well, maybe
Yeah.
I'd point it next to him.
Yeah.
And then throw it in the lake.
Yeah.
Because it's just so careless.
I know. And then all Paul is saying is just keep that away from me. Like,
Yeah.
you literally
Don't
almost
go near
just
with
got
this gun.
shot.
So that's back to where I'm like, the acting was weak because there was
Yeah.
like no emotion for anything.
Yeah.
It was mostly just yelling if they got emotional.
Yeah.
So Marcy and Jeff get right to banging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul goes and has a dramatic stand by the lake, almost gets shot. 16 minutes in, we see tits.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet, we see
Here's
tits. Like,
titties.
yeah. All right, cool.
Also, I made this note. It has nothing to do with the movie, but I really appreciated seeing an actress with like a bunch of tattoos because you never see that. And, you know, like you can be an actor or an actress with tattoos, you know?
It's just hard to get roles.
Yeah. Well, all hers aren't like visible except for maybe this one.
Yeah.
They're all on her torso and stuff. I don't know. It was just nice. It was nice seeing that.
It was nice.
'Twas nice.
It was nice. Then this idiot Bert starts a fire with a whole like a half a bottle of lighter.
That
fluid.
was believable. Like I have definitely seen a bunch of stupid males like just gunning it with the lighter fluid and starting a fire.
It was
and
pretty
playing with
excessive.
fire.
It was a little too much. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, buddy, be a bit of a man and start it without it.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I'm gonna go shoot some new. What did he say? Noobs?
Squirrels?
I thought he was referring to like. I can't remember what he said,
Oh.
but he's like, I'm gonna go hunting now. I'm like, yeah, because that's what most people do: start a fire and then leave it
Yeah.
unattended, and go shooting random shit in the forest. He ends up shooting.
A person.
Yeah, this guy that lost his dog. And I
Yeah.
thought it was Deliverance first. Shoots Harry,
Mm-hmm.
cousin Harry, and is like, I'm looking at him like, okay, he's not that fucked up. Like he just shot him. How did he get all fucked up?
Yeah.
So, but we didn't see Harry drinking any water at any point.
No.
So that's where I'm starting thinking, okay, is it a zombie movie?
Right?
Is this
You're like, how is it contaminated?
but no, not at all.
Yeah.
Then he's like, I'm gonna go get help, and runs away and leaves him there, and then goes back and like just emotionless and
Yeah.
not even tormented to the point where
No.
like if you shot someone and left them for dead,
You'd be a little fucked up about it unless you're a psychopath.
yeah, I'd probably be sitting like shaking, not
Mm-hmm.
being able to concentrate on anything. Like people would be like, "What's wrong?" Just fuck you. That's what's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like, but he's just like, just gonna carve the stick, tell the fucking story, douchebag. Like,
Yeah.
just nothing bothered him at all. I'm like, okay, it's pretty cool. All right. And then they meet. Oh, what's his face?
Grim.
Grim. Oh, I thought. Okay, sorry. At one point, I wrote down Paul's a killer, or Paul's the killer, because he tells that story.
Oh, yeah. Because, okay, so they're around a campfire and they're like, come on, Paul, tell us a story. And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Very serious. And then,
His trauma.
yeah.
Tell us about your
Specifically
trauma.
his trauma. It'll bond us. And then he's telling this campfire ghost story. And I'm like, how is this your trauma?
It's not his trauma at all.
Yeah.
It was a story about someone else.
Yeah, and it was like, was it real or was it a ghost story? I don't know, because after he's done, they laugh it off and make it sound like he's telling just a stupid, scary story.
And then Grimm's dog shows up.
Yeah.
Dog was creepy.
Dr. Mambo.
Dr. Mambo.
Yeah, and then we never see Grimm again. And
At all, do we?
we see Dr. Mambo though.
Dog's a murderer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made a note of that. I'm like, where's Grimm? Like on both pages, I'm like, Grimm, question mark?
Yeah.
Still haven't seen Grimm yet because the guy shows up and he's like, really, really creepy.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat. I'm like, okay, but that's not the best way to introduce yourself to strangers.
No.
Then he's like, oh, I got this weed. Now, most sensible people would just be like, hey, how much cash do we have?
Yeah.
Cool, dude, just sell us some weed
Yeah.
and then buy.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, can you bring the weed back later with you? Mm-hmm. It's like even
obvious much.
even that, like that dialogue was just completely not believable.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, most real stoners would be like, just give us some. Give us
Yeah.
some. If you're gonna come back later, just give us something to tide us over for now.
Yeah.
or we'll buy a joint off you or whatever. Give us a handful. Because most people selling weed be like, here, just dig in there and grab a handful and give me $40.
Yeah.
Done. But so that was just like, no, this is, it's not even like actors playing teenagers very well.
No.
How are they supposed to be teenagers?
No, I think they're supposed to be college age. So like
Teens,
early
20s.
20s. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
What's with Grimm in the first place just sauntering up? Like, isn't this a private property that is being rented for the weekend, or like what the
We
fuck?
don't know.
Like, it's not a campsite.
And this, also, again, I'm back to one of my thoughts about this. What this movie was like, this is a distraction. He's going to scope the place out to
Yeah.
distract, and then the other two guys from the store are going to come and tie him up and kidnap him.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right?
Nope, still not.
No.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, "Brah!" They're like the fucking infected Harry
Yeah,
shows
comes
up,
back.
knocking on the door, and that's when Bert's like, no, get him out of here. And like nobody questions like, Bert, why are you trying to push this guy out? Or they
Yeah.
kind of do, but they just let it go.
Although, to be fair, if a guy showed up on my doorstep that bloodied and aggressive, I wouldn't let him in either.
Well, no, but
I would
I mean,
be
like,
we're calling the police, but stay the fuck out there.
I would probably, if Bert was like, no, push past me and like close it and was like, fuck you, man, fuck
Yeah,
you.
I'd be like-
I'd be going, why does it seem like you know him?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
He had gunshot wounds. Did you shoot him?
Yeah.
But then all of a
You're like,
sudden,
Bert,
they're like,
what the fuck did you do?
he's going for the car. I'm thinking, why'd you idiots leave the keys in the car?
Right? And why is the car open?
Yes. Car's open, keys in it, in a mysterious place you've never been.
Yeah.
With creepy people you've already encountered.
Yeah,
One
really?
having just left.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as some stranger walked onto my patio and was like, hey man, what's going on?
I'd be like, everything locked.
Yeah, lock my doors. If my keys were in my car, I'd be going out to my car to get my keys.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's some stranger walking around my apartment.
Yeah.
Probably gonna try and steal stuff.
Every single time I get into my car, it doesn't matter if it's day or night, the first thing I do, I get in, I shut the door, I lock the doors. That's it. Like, that's,
I think mine just lock as soon as I put it in gear and start driving away.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wish
I didn't realize it has an automatic, you can't unlock it while you're driving. You unlock it, it instantly locks again. I didn't know that.
Oh.
I was like driving up to somebody's place and I was like, it just kept going. I'm like, what the fuck?
You're
I'm
like,
rolling
hey!
up. I want to be prepared. It's like, oh, I have to put it in neutral and then do it.
Interesting.
So they're like, I loved this. They try to defend themselves from this guy. Marcy soaks him in lighter fluid.
yeah.
Like, soaks him in lighter fluid. Meanwhile, Jeff's running inside to get a burning log out of the fire. These idiots have two fires going. One in the house and one outside.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Then he comes out and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He's soaked in lighter fluid and bleeding. And then he drops the burning log on the
Yeah.
ground, hits the lighter fluid, and they burn him.
And meanwhile, when the car is unlocked and he's in there,
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I totally skipped that part.
dumbass number one shoots the tires out, and dumbass number two is smashing the windshield. Like, what the fuck are you
Yeah.
doing?
And not hitting the guy at all.
No.
And then this is a baffling thing later. But yeah, he comes outside. They light him on fire. He runs away. Then we smash cut to inside. And
Yep.
everyone's just dead silent. Nobody's emotional. Nobody's traumatized. Except for Karen. Karen's the only one
Yeah.
that's like, holy fucking shit. What did we just do?
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, just calm the fuck down. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Karen,
Don't
it was
worry
an
about
accident. Shut the
if,
fuck
if
up.
none of us say anything, I'm like, this is just like I know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
But worse.
Uh-huh.
And then Jeff goes, well, it was self-defense, man. But it was raining outside, so that probably put him out. I'm like, he was in flames. He was
Yeah.
on fire when he ran away.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't raining that hard.
No.
The rain didn't put him out.
No. I know.
Wow, no, that doesn't work.
So then they go to bed, and it's the next day. And they show a shot of the car, and all the blood is on the outside of the car.
Yes. And
And I was like, thought he was inside. What the fuck is going on?
mm-hmm.
Like, what?
It's on the headlights,
Mm-hmm.
both sides, both corners, all up the side of the front quarter panel.
Yep.
On the
the
smashed parts of the windshield. I'm
Yeah.
like, Buddy didn't hit his head.
Yeah, and you
through the
didn't
windshield.
bash his head in.
It's like they just drenched the car in blood because they didn't shoot him when he was in the car
No.
either. So he was just bleeding.
Yeah, it would have been on the inside, and like, it wouldn't have shown up on the outside at all. It's
Yeah,
so dumb.
I noticed that too, and I'm glad because like it's just an excessive amount of blood. I'm like, what? This doesn't even seem believable at all.
Yeah, like he would be dead if it were that amount of blood.
She says, "I'm going to get help."
Yeah.
alone.
In a canoe.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a canoe? Mm-hmm. It's not the easiest thing to navigate by yourself.
No.
It's hard
That's
enough
why you
with,
need
with
the
two
second
people.
seat. Yeah.
She's in the back of the canoe.
And she's just like,
She's a city girl. City girl doesn't want to be out there. No cell service. And she gets in a canoe and is like, fuck it.
I'm going.
Oh, but she shoots a gun later. So she's like, I got trained by my dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so maybe she's kind of badass.
Yeah.
She can
Well, no, because
paddle the
after she
canoe.
shoots the gun, she says, you're not the only gamer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, she's not playing like canoe simulator. I got to get around this rapid.
And then, so she canoes over. Paul stays watch with Karen, and then Jeff and Bert go to look for help. And Karen's freaking out, packing her shit. She's like, we got to get out of here. I want to go home. This is fucked up. And Paul gives her a glass of water, and she drinks it. And she's fucked.
Yep.
Something's
Something in the water.
And then it flashes to Jeff and Bert, and they're walking to this random ass house. And then all of a sudden you hear this loud ass, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's this short old lady slaughtering this pig.
Creepy.
Yeah. And she's like holding its innards, and she's like, there's a sickness.
You can't eat this, would you?
And he's like, no, I'm a vegetarian. And she's like, that doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with anything.
So, like, again, I'm thinking, okay, it can't just be as simple as something in the water that's too much of a layup.
Yeah.
But it is.
It is, because the
like,
pigs are getting it, I guess.
Maybe there's some sort of evil in this lake.
Yeah.
That would be better. And I'm
Like
like,
Jason Voorhees.
yeah, because somebody does come out of the lake later.
Yeah, the on fire guy.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together. I just thought, I'm like, who's the lake guy? And that's all I wrote down.
And then they are looking for a mechanic and go in her house, and they're telling her the story of how this fucked up guy was, they had to defend themselves last night. And then they were like, yeah, it was some weird hermit guy, which how would you?
You wouldn't know he was a hermit.
No.
You just know he was a dude walking through the woods.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, it wasn't Cousin Henry, was it? And points to a photo, and it is Cousin Henry. And they're like, nope. Nope. There's just some random guy.
No, it wasn't that guy at all.
And then they just run out, and
They're like, we're going to walk. We're going to walk. It's cool. Fine.
Yeah.
Bye.
And she's not at all like, that's weird.
She's got a pig to throw out and burn, I guess.
True. And then they get back
stuff
to the
to do.
cabin. Then it flashes.
Well, my next note is, hey, hot sheriff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The deputy.
Yeah, they get back to the cabin, and then it's Winston.
She's this actress did not have a lot of credits to her name for good reason.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not
because
surprised.
she was bad. Oh my God. Oh, what you guys doing out in this cabin? Oh, that little honey of yours there. She liked the girls. Hey there, tits. Just go back inside and chill. I think she sounded like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
It was brutal.
And she's like, you gonna party? You a party guy?
We gonna party later? Yeah. I'll
Ew.
come back. Oh, your car? Don't worry about your car. It's
I'll get a
fine.
tow truck.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear her say, I'll get a tow truck. Because later on he's like, she said they should get a tow truck. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, she didn't. Did she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed that part. Yes, she did then.
And then,
She's like, I'll be back later.
yeah.
She's a liar.
Doesn't come back. And then we follow Paul and Karen napping. And then all of a sudden they start making out. And I love this classic move in movies where the
yeah.
guy's hand is immediately on her boob. And it's just solid. It's just staying there. It's just like not doing anything. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we like that. Like, are you kidding?
Well, she pushed it down.
She's like, okay, that's not where it needs to be right now.
Well, then she just I love how she's like, wait, don't go. Then she rolls over and he's like, cool.
Yeah. He's like,
Dude, it's an invite to spoon with her.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah.
That's what I took it as. I was like, no, she wants you to spoon with her.
Yeah.
Because later on, he just kind of pokes her and looks at her and they start making out. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what you wanted the whole time.
I
Come
know.
on.
No, she's been like dropping hints like the whole time when they went for swim together.
Paul's
And
just an idiot.
yeah, Paul. Yeah,
Paul's a virgin.
not after.
Wow. No.
And then he like starts like messing around with her, and then she's like, stop. Which I like that he did.
Oh, yeah,
At
of
least
course.
there was fucking consent in this movie.
He's like, ah. And he saw the blood and was like, shit.
Yeah, he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then it's just her like thighs that are bloody, and I'm like, what Paul, what were you doing? What were you doing down there? Yeah, he like, it's just her thighs that are scratched up, and I'm just like,
Well, my
Paul!
question was not Paul, but like, why did it start there for her? Where did it start?
Yeah.
Where does it start?
because
Where
she
did it
drank the water. It's not like,
But yeah, but like, so did Pancake's owner. Like, I'm like, where does it start on the body? That's my question. Is like, is it your face first? Because like
Yeah.
we see the Marcy's back at one
Yeah.
point. Why is it Karen's thighs?
maybe it's points of pressure, like the first point of pressure that happens. I don't
He's
know.
just down there. This is how you do it, right?
And she's like, yeah, Paul, no wonder you're a
Squelching.
fucking virgin.
You fucking terrible. Like, yeah, like it would just seem weird that it was her thighs. I'm like, okay, and because
Yeah.
like later on, it's Jeff's hand. Oh
Yeah.
no, that wasn't the thing. That was the laser. I think.
No, that was yeah,
It was,
that was,
wasn't it?
yeah.
And then he gets
And
shot
he was
in the
like,
face.
"Oh fuck." But yeah, like
God, this movie
it's
sucked.
it's a different point of starting for everyone. So hers starts on her thighs, which equate to her vagina because I guess that's how men write. Men are like,
Yeah.
anything above the knees is a vagina.
We'll have his hand come up and it'll be covered in blood because her vagina's covered in blood.
But her underwear's on and her thighs are the things that are scratched. We know what we're talking about.
Look at this guy right here.
Yeah.
The writing
That
genius.
guy knows the fucking anatomy like this.
So now we get to.
Oh yeah, and then they're like, Karen, you need to go the fuck outside. Like we need to quarantine her.
They put her in a shed.
I honestly, I would too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
You have to quarantine
no
that person.
question. And Karen's being such a Karen about it. She's like, "Fuck you guys," and it's like, "Bitch, we want to quarantine you." It sounds a lot like modern Karens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wear a mask. Fuck you.
There it is.
There it is.
Fuck people that I'm wearing masks now in stores.
Same. I
I'll
went
put
and
it on.
bought masks today.
It's weird. I find the people stare me right in the eyes though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had this girl. She was obviously there with her boyfriend, and I'm walking into London Drugs. She's like looking at me. I'm like, okay. And then I look back. She's still staring at me. I'm like, okay. And then I look again. I'm like, as I walk by her, I'm like,
Can I help
the
you?
hell's up, cutie? You got nice eyes. And I look back. I'm like, oh, it's probably her boyfriend. Fuck you. But it's interesting. People just look directly in your eyes because they got nothing else to look at.
Yep.
Like, oh, look at the floor. Don't look at me.
Don't look at me.
Oh my God! I gotta say, now that they've over at Fairway, they've removed a couple of the standing points. I don't understand why, because it
Oh.
fucks everything up now.
Yeah.
So it used to be here's your standing spots for aisle 3, 2, and 1, and then for customer service. I go there last night. I'm fucking stoned out of my mind. I'm like, I need cheese for my pizza. I just need a couple things. I'm gonna go in there. I go in there and I'm like finishing the produce aisle. I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna go wait in line. There's no spots for customer service. I'm like, okay. There's a guy waiting, like standing back by the juice, basically. And I'm going, okay, this is how it used to be. Fuck. And I look over and I see an empty space for aisle number 1. I'm like, I'm gonna go stand there. I go to stand there. There's another person standing along by the other fucking juice aisle. And I'm like, what the fuck, people? Why aren't you standing in the right spot? So I walk over and stand on that spot. And then Buddy walks around the corner and goes, oh, this guy's actually been waiting here for a while. What are you waiting for? And he's like, I just want to wait. And the girl at customer service is like helping somebody, and this person's helping somebody. So then it's like, oh, well, he's been waiting here for a while. I'm like, all right, stand over here then. So I go to stand by the fucking juice. Now we're all in a big fucking circle. Nobody's standing in line.
my
I'm like,
God.
ugh, and like the guy behind me now with his kids is kind of making it like I jumped line. And I'm like, no, I fucking walked up here first and stood in the right fucking spot,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah.
And now you're kind of like,
No, if you're not
This
in
guy.
line, if there was like,
and
just-
I'm trying to be nice about it too and not be like, dude, I fucking went and did it properly.
Yeah.
None of you did. So
Yeah.
fuck all of you, I wanted to say.
No.
And then I'm standing like I'm next to go up and she's almost done. And guy finally gets into customer service. And then this lady comes up and goes, I can help whoever's next. And I just go, I look at the guy behind me and go, you can take it. It's all good. And he goes, oh, well, no, you can have it. I'm like, no, dude, I'm literally walking up right now. Oh, okay, cool. And he walks away. And then the other woman that was standing there goes, did you want to go over there? I'm like, I'm literally walking. I'm good.
Oh my
I'm good.
God.
But it's so weird. Like I'm finally getting used to this new fucking normal in stores.
Yeah.
And then when they start removing things, I'm like, don't.
No, it's
People,
not the time.
It's not. No, because I just look for the red square. Red square, I'm going to go stand there. Red circle, I'm going to stand on that red circle.
Yep.
But now people are like, I'm just going to stand anywhere and just assume that people understand what I'm doing.
No. That happened at Sport Check today too. There were these two guys in line ahead of me, and one of them was on the dot, but then his friend with him was behind him, thus making the space between the two dots not 6 feet. So I'm standing further back to make it 6 feet, and then some lady comes up to me and she's like, get on the dot so other people can line up properly. And I was like, you need to talk to them. Like,
They're fucking it up. for the rest
it's
of
not
us.
up to me, sis. And these guys were maybe like 18. They don't give an F about nothing.
They don't give a fuck about nothing.
They looked over and they were just like, I'm like, oh yeah.
These are the idiots that are having
Fuck other people.
60 people in one bedroom apartments.
Oh God.
Dummies. So,
Yeah,
I
so
made
they
it.
quarantine Karen in a shed.
That's right. And then, like Paul goes looking for help, discovers some shotgun wielding fucking crazy couple in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He's like going to like look in the window like, oh,
You
somebody in there,
people
and all of a
on
sudden,
us. You love making.
hurry. And then they're walking, he's backing them past the door, and the husband comes like, are you spying on our love making? This is my wife. Shh, this is my husband. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you two?
Yeah, like what is wrong with this whole town?
What was she doing just wandering around in the middle
I
of the night with
know.
a shotgun? She's
Like, who are you love making?
I'm going to go pee, Gerald. Give me the shotgun. Maybe they needed one.
Yeah.
And in amongst this, like, Marcy's trying to make Karen eat. You got to eat something. I'm like, bitch, you can fast for 3 weeks. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No.
She's
and if
fine.
someone's sick, no one wants to eat.
No, give him some. Just have a little water, dear. Ugh. No, that's another thing. You bring your own water camping.
Yep.
You do not drink lake water. Or,
Nope.
Because that's what it was. They showed us like 50 minutes
Yeah.
in. Pipe from the lake. They follow shot. I'm like, oh, well, there it is.
No, when I had like when my grandparents had their lake house in Alberta, we used the lake water for like showering and washing dishes and stuff, but we had one of those like water coolers for drinking
Yeah.
water and cooking and stuff. Like it's just common knowledge.
You got two different waters.
Two different waters.
They're arguing about what they're going to do with Karen. They're inside. Bert has a marshmallow he's roasting over
Yeah.
the fire. He holds it for a full 2 minutes and it doesn't change. It doesn't melt. I'm like, that thing would be on fire
Yeah.
and then it would melt and just be a blob on the floor.
And then he says, who does this remind you of? Like the guy they set
He
on
goes-
fire, you psycho.
and blows it out and they're like, all right, let's get out of here. So
Yeah.
they decide to take Karen and leave. Oh yeah, they fix the car
Yeah,
in the midst
they
of this.
fix the car and clean the car.
Like she's puking up blood.
Yeah.
She's obviously sick, dying. You guys know you're not gonna be able to save her. She's puking up blood. Like, hey, let's put her in the car. It'd
Yeah,
be a great idea.
as soon as you see someone like vomiting blood like that, you can pretty much guarantee that they're dead.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, yeah.
Or at
Something-
least
something's
leave
going
her
on in
there and then bring help to her.
Yeah.
Not
Jeopardize
go and,
everybody else.
Yeah, and Jeff is like the only one who's being like, "Are you fucking serious? Like, no, we're not getting in a car with her." But then he makes this comment when he's running away to do his own thing, and he says to Paul and Marcy, "You guys are covered in her blood." No, they're not. Like
Yeah,
Marcy,
they were just around her puking blood.
yeah, they were behind her, and she like spewed it forward. Like they're
Droplets.
yeah, like but there was no blood on them at all. So why the fuck is Jeff saying that?
Mm-hmm.
But then Bert notices he's sick and he just panics and takes the car, which why would you let that happen? Why wouldn't you be like, no, Bert, you get out of the car, you stay here with Karen, we're gonna go.
Because these people are terrible.
Yeah.
They're just like, their reaction speed's slow.
Yeah.
I love in the midst of this too, Paul bags up a bunch of clothes. That was right after Bert leaves, actually.
Yeah.
Paul bags up a bunch of clothes and he
Throws
figures
them
are
in the
infected.
lake.
Throws them in the lake. I'm like, do you want a pandemic? Because
Yeah.
that's how you get a pandemic.
Yeah.
Come on. Burn it at least.
Yeah.
You got lots of lighter fluid left.
Right? Maybe not.
Oh, they burned Harry with it.
Yeah. And so Bird goes to the corner store that he stole from to try and get help. And then
Bitey McBiterson
I was just about to say
bites
that.
him again.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, fuck. And then Deliverance is like, you made my son sick. I already lost one son. It's like, where's this story?
Yeah.
Did you lose him to this or like what?
Did he drink the water? Did he
Yeah.
get murdered by campers? Is that why you hate us?
Yeah.
Did the city take him?
Like, don't give us another plot line that you're not going to get
No,
answer.
I mentioned when he came over here, there's like this movie had 5 different fucking stories going on.
Yeah.
Or starters for stories. I'm like, okay, this is what it is. No. This is what it could be. No.
Yeah.
It's not that. No, you thought it was. It's not though.
And then Jeff goes into the house and rinses his mouth out with water. And then I'm like, oh, is he going to get infected? He's not swallowing it. Well, I guess we'll find out. Grabs a beer and goes to seclude himself somewhere. And then Marcy and Paul are in the house and they're talking. And Marcy's like, it's like we're on a plane
jeez.
that you know is going to crash. And it's starting to get deep. You know, and I'm like, okay, maybe they're giving these characters like cheesy, cliche substance. But then she's like, and you just know that you're going to die. So you turn to the person next to them and you just want to fuck the shit out of them. And I'm like, really? Like you just got
like
into a
that.
fight with your boyfriend. Your boyfriend is there and you're literally going to cheat on him because he just pissed you off and left. And you're going to use the excuse of you think you're all going to die, so who cares?
Marcy's a hoe.
Marcy.
Straight up hoe.
Yeah, Marcy, like, come on, bro. What the fuck is the matter with
Yeah,
you?
let me see her tits for the second time.
Yeah.
Then after that, she's like, hey, we're going to die. I better go shave my legs.
Yeah, well, Paul scratches up her back, and then she's like, oh, you really did a number on my back. And it's just bruising. But then the next shot, she's in a bubble bath and it's bleeding and open. And I'm like,
She's just shaving the skin right off.
oh, God,
Ew.
sick.
Meanwhile, Paul is out fighting Lake Man.
Yeah.
Who you've
Lake
told me
Man
now is
Henry.
Henry or Harry?
Henry.
Okay, Henry. All right. So Paul drowns him.
Yeah.
Henry came out of the water like he was hiding under the water.
Yeah.
So did he do a bunch of like hyperventilative breathing before he went in there and just
Yeah.
stayed underwater for a couple minutes and waited?
Also,
It's like he was plotting.
Karen drank the water and then succumbed to it in what, 2 days?
It took a while.
2 to 3? Henry, we don't know the time period between when he found pancakes and this, but it's at least been 3 days. Like Henry should be like dead already. He shouldn't be zombified acting like that with so much energy. Like if you're going to commit to this virus being rapidly decaying,
You sure it was Henry? Because how do we even know that?
because he was
just
burned.
Oh, okay. He just looked shitty to me. Because that's another thing. Like it's been so long from when Henry just ran away to this.
Yeah.
I was honestly like, who the fuck is this guy in the lake? Who is this? I thought maybe he was some other dead guy, some guy that worked at the treatment plant or something.
Maybe
he was patient zero. I don't know, but I guess it's Henry. So we do know. Skin's falling off. Better shave my legs.
And then her titty skin falls off.
Ooh, so I was like, yeah, we see her tits 3
I
times.
don't know how.
Her tits were falling off,
Yeah.
but still,
Her nipple fell off.
that
or
was so
something.
fucking weird.
I know, like
Full
why? She didn't
frontal-
shave that.
Full frontal nudity.
Yeah, and she
with
comes
all
out
your
of the
shit.
house.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And then has a staring contest with the dog.
with Dr. Mambo, who's also infected, and she's screaming at the dog like it understands English, and she's like, "Just fucking do it!" And then he obliterates her.
And there's no drag marks away from that circle of blood later.
Yeah.
Did the dog eat all 125 pounds of her?
I guess.
Oh,
Like it
my
doesn't make
goodness.
sense.
No, we don't even know if this is like a Raccoon City type infection sort of thing, where it came from. Is that it's just a water? Like at one point, he just looks across the lake and goes, "Oh God, it's in the water!" Well, you see a building across the water. It could be another cabin.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a green sludge waste
Yeah, it's
coming
not like
across.
zombievers.
Yeah, not like Simpsons, fucking the giant thing coming out of the no.
But also,
zombievers. Oh my frick! I forgot
know.
about that.
I just thought of this. How did Marcy get sick? She didn't drink the water.
Who knows?
Like, what the fuck?
No, like they didn't show everybody drinking water.
Or yeah. Or wait, did she?
Maybe no, because Jeff didn't drink the water.
No, he definitely
I
didn't.
was gonna say maybe he like came inside her, but he didn't drink the water, so it wouldn't.
No.
That doesn't make any sense. You don't use water as lube.
No, it doesn't work.
You need real lube. Oh, eventually this gun runs out of ammo.
Yeah.
So the-
after a million shots.
The average magazine size for an assault rifle is 30 rounds. I looked it up. 30 rounds. They fired at least. I wasn't going to go back and count.
No, but
my estimate was about 50.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was no extended magazine on that thing.
Yeah. And then so Paul comes back after looking for help. And Paul comes out of the cabin or some shit and finds Marcy's arm.
Yeah,
and then
what's
goes
left of her.
Yeah, and then goes into the shed and Karen is like,
Oh, yeah, she's getting chewed on by the dog.
yeah.
And she's like, shoot him.
Yeah, and then he shoots the dog, uses the last of the rounds on the dog.
Finally.
And then Karen's like, fucking kill me, like, please. And then decides to do it the worst way possible. He grabs a shovel and goes to, like, decapitate her, but shoves it in her mouth.
Uh-huh.
And, like,
Cuts her jaw off,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. And she can still speak, mind you. And then he can't, she's like, do it again or try again.
It finished me.
Yeah. And then he decides to light her on fire.
Oh. Fire and drowning.
Yeah.
Two horrible ways to go, I would think. Mm-hmm. Like, what?
Yeah.
There's a whole wall of weapons.
Yeah.
He looks over and goes, shovel.
Yeah.
There's like shears, a pitchfork,
It's
bunch
like,
of shit.
It's like that scene in Scary Movie where she has an option of like a grenade, a gun, a knife, and a banana, and she chooses a banana.
Stab it with a banana.
Yeah. Like the worst decision. And then he gets into the car.
This is where
Bert.
the
He meets up with Bert and
Bert's been getting chased by three rednecks. At this
by
point.
the hillbillies.
Hillbillies. That's a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then Bert's telling Paul that they're coming to kill him and then just gets his head blown off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul picks up one of their guns.
No, wait. I thought he picked up the one that was out of ammo.
Maybe.
'Cause-
No.
Oh, was it one? Because was it one of their guns? Because they didn't drop their
That's
guns.
true.
So I assumed he picked up the gun that he'd already shot the dog with.
Oh.
And that's when those guys, he's like, click, click, and they go, the safety's on.
And he's like, oh, thanks.
And
Oh,
then
maybe.
fires off another 20 rounds. This is where I was like, no. It's like
Yep.
he wouldn't have put the safety back on after he shot the
No,
dog.
no.
And then forgot to take it off when he went to shoot her.
Yeah.
And there was not an extra 20 rounds in that magazine.
Nope. And then after he kills all them, he goes and steals their truck and somehow stumbles upon this campground and finds Winston.
Deputy Winston,
Yeah, and he's just roasting her.
who's getting drunk with just two randoms.
Yeah, so weird. And then she cons him and says there's a shortcut there.
This is after the one friend cranks
Oh,
the
yeah.
other friend in the head with the guitar.
And she has wood chips in her face, bleeding. Like,
I had to rewind that twice. 'Cause I was like, what
Okay.
just happened?
yeah.
What happened?
Like, I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe that's,
Don't believe you.
yeah. And then he gets lost in the woods and he's like, Winston, there's no fucking road. Winston!
He walked for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what do you, she's not lying to you. A shortcut can be any distance.
Yeah.
As long as it's shorter than the other, it could be 20 minutes for all you fucking know.
Yeah. If
He's-
the other one is 40 or longer, yeah.
It's like, I don't see a road. There's no road, you liar.
Yeah. And then it goes back to the cabin and Jeff shows up and he stumbles upon his girlfriend's remains and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't give a shit. And then he's like laughing and he's like, I fucking told you. I told you. And he's like, I made it. And he's walking. And then for some reason, he looks at his hand and he sees this little dot on his thumb. And he's like, what? Fuck. And I'm like, how? You spit out the water.
Mm-hmm. And how long has it been? Like another day by this point? Is it the same
Yeah.
day? Oh, and that for a second, because he got shot immediately after that.
Yeah.
Hannah goes, oh, fuck.
By
Like,
the sheriff.
and she's just like, yes.
Yeah. She's like,
which just seems like because this is the end of the movie, and at this
Yeah.
point, I'm going. What was the point of this? Is this all a ploy by the people in the town?
Right? We don't know. And then the last scene is Paul sitting against a tree stump, like dying or dead or almost dead. And then creepy rabbit kid comes up behind him. And that's it.
And like, boom, credits.
And then the credits have the same intense music. But then it shows Yeah.
Wait, there's something after the credits?
it
Because I
during
shut
the
this off
credits.
as soon as I could.
During the credits, it shows Marcy's naked body and her face getting zipped up in a body bag. And I'm like, I thought she was eaten up.
Oh.
Like, what the fuck? And it shows the hillbillies' bodies being zipped up and taken. There's like police, ambulance at the lodge. And I'm like, how is she being zipped up? There's only her arm left. Where did you find the rest of her body so intact?
Some of the dogs. And then yeah, you start thinking like, well, there's obviously some humans there helping out. Maybe Grim was because he's like, I'm Grim, just Grim. Is he the Grim Reaper?
Oh, maybe.
Like, is he putting the shit in the water and drugging these
I
people?
don't
Like,
know.
fuck.
Like,
At
there's
least
just,
reveal that if that's the story.
there's 5 or 6 different plot lines that aren't expanded on or revealed, and then the one plot line that they do have is shitty, and they don't even finish that off.
This movie was bad.
It was so bad.
Really, really
It
bad.
earned its 0%.
What did you rate it?
I rated it 1 cut off, sawed off, fallen off titty out of 10 shovels in the mouth.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just because the one thing I liked about this movie was 2 half things. It gets half a point for the scenery. Where they shot it was really beautiful, like that lake, wherever they were. And then the other half point comes from like one of the main actresses, like having tattoos. I was like, I like that because I didn't see it.
I gave it one little bitey bastard out of 10 Cabin Fever Bayou Peter Griffins.
Oh,
Because we got to see some nice boobs.
yeah.
And like you said, the scenery was nice.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Pick time.
Down to the last 3 in this jar.
Whoa. And then we have to come up with more.
And we do. Oh, the next movie is going to be...
Oh, I grabbed 2. I'm cheating.
I picked this one.
Oh, it's your boy Doom.
Doom with The Rock.
Yeah.
I've never
yeah.
seen this. I've
Me
just seen it
either.
advertised on there, and I swapped out one. Can't remember what I got rid of. No, I remember what I got rid of. It's an old Van Damme movie.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, no, I can't do that one.
We're going to watch a movie that neither of us have ever seen.
It's true.
Yes.
Sweet.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Hit us up on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Hit the subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button.
Hit that subscribe button. Like it. Share it. All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
This is Real Garbage.